What's up, guys? Adam back with RV Returners doing another Blitz tech. I know we promised to do mono lighting this time, but we had some kind of scheduling conflicts. So we're definitely going to get to that one. We also have a mono wind deck that's coming up soon as well that we need to get to. So this is going to be one that I'm going to do myself since I have played a lot of monsters typically over the course of since I started playing the game. So we have a mono water monsters list. Coming from one of our listeners, Liam. He's one of the local Fredericksburg players. He wanted us to look at his mono water monsters list and kind of give him some ideas on where to go. So I know the list he sent me, he wanted to play Ozma, I believe. So I'm going to try to kind of stick with that, but make some changes around some other places. So let's get into his forwards, see where he's kind of doing. So he's got 3 Gal, 3 Realm, pretty standard for monsters. 2 Mira, who's kind of on the come up now. 2 Kefka, which is interesting. He has that ability to tutor a monster as well as activate and make a guy maybe a monster that would normally be nothing into a bunch of 7Ks. And he does it for all your monsters. Then the new Cloud of Darkness, which is pretty strong forward right now. That allows you to remove some stuff and it gets that power reduction every turn. 1 Mog, 6 for the card draw, 1 Kamana, I guess, to search out his Kefka. So, I mean, it's not terrible here. There's a lot of things I would change. He's pretty light on forwards in general, which makes me assume that he's going to be really heavy on monsters. But I do think if you're sticking to the mono water, you do want to have more forwards out there, and then just kind of build toward like a Cognazo play, which is missing here. So next up we have the backup. So he's got 3 Waka, pretty typical. 3 Tom Betty to get his Mira and his Tonberries. 3 Fisher, 2 Minwu, 2 Rare Yuna, the one that makes sure summons cost 1 less, and 1 Heroic Ico. So again, some interesting things. Not a really big fan of the Rare Yuna in a monster package that's just mono water, since we're probably running Cleone. And if we're running Cleone, we're not really going to be running any summons here. And then Ico, the magic number for Ico, I believe, is you want to probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 summons. Because in order for you to even use Ico's ability, there needs to be 4 summons in your break zone. So, unless your summon package is big, I wouldn't really recommend running this backup. And especially since you're running an Ozma build, I think I like the other Ico better. We'll get into that more. But I think Ico here is not good, just because you're not running enough summons, and also you're running Cleone, which kind of counteracts with those last 2 backups that you have. So then we get into summons and monsters. So for summons, you got 3 Leviathan, 2 Bismarck. Great water summons. The only thing here, again, I don't want to sound, beat a dead horse. If you're running Cleone, I don't really like having summons really at all. So I would recommend cutting these out, putting some more forwards in, going more toward that way. But if you want to play more like mono water with just Ozma in it, that's definitely something that you can do and still run the summons and not run the Cleone, etc. So for monsters, got 3 Marlboro. So I think 3 Marlboro is a little too much. Honestly, it's hard to even fit 1 Marlboro in now, I think, with how the monsters have evolved, especially if you're running Ozma. Because Ozma is a mandatory 3-up, so he's got 3 Ozma here. Obviously, his special is a blowout. So, I mean, and if that's the focal point of the deck, you definitely want to be running 3 for sure. 3 Schrodinger, which is a pretty cool card. There's some RNG aspects to it, but none of the options are really that bad. I guess what he's trying to go for here to run the summons is to get that double card draw, but you don't really need it. Just being able to get a character back from the break zone if you flip a backup is really nice. And then sometimes just bumping a forward, even though your opponent gets to choose, is pretty great. I got 2 Adamantoids here. I think Adamantoids in these builds are kind of on its way out. It is a nice card. I do think if you're running like the Earth Splash variant with Raubon, it is really nice to be able to save your Raubon there in that situation. However, I don't feel like it's very strong right now. It does draw you a card, which is great, and you can recycle it with Gal, which is great. But I think Gal would rather be recycling other things. 2 Green Dragon here. So Green Dragon is like one of the best monsters for value. I mean, it's cheap. It's a 7K, it's an 8K with Waka out, and it's just 1 mana to activate. It doesn't matter what mana it is. Now, granted, that doesn't matter that much in this build, because you're all water anyway, so if it costed a water to activate in this build, it wouldn't really be that big a deal. But outside of mono water, monsters. It is a big deal that it's just a colorless mana to activate that guy. Again, great monster. I would bump it up from 2 to 3, but it's hard sometimes to find room. Then you got 2 Cleone. I think 2 to 3 Cleone is where you want to be, and if you're at 2 to 3 Cleone, I think you don't want to run summons at all because you don't want to really be counterintuitive to your own play. So, I mean, it's great that it shuts off your opponent's summons, but you got to remember it also shuts off your summons. So you don't really want to be in a position where you're holding onto these summons that you want to cast, but you can't cast them because of your own card. I mean, that sucks. So, and then you got 2 Tonberries here. I'd like to also see that go up to 3 in this build, especially since you're running the Mira and the Tonbetty. You just have so many ways to get out a bunch of Tonberries, even though they're not multi-unit. I mean, you just play one, you tap your Mira down, you get another one, you play one again. You're basically, it's like a removal that you don't have to use a summon for. So that's pretty much his deck. Again, I understand what he's trying to go for. There's a lot of tweaks I would make. Let's get into the tweaks that I did make. So first up, we have my forwards. So 3 Cognazzo. I think if you're running Mono Water monsters, this guy is like a must-have. He's like a good early blocker if you need it, but really he's your game ender. You just put stuff on the board. Everything is water basically, and he's eventually just you're gonna play him. You're gonna bump him back to your hand. You're gonna play him again. Everything's gonna die. And then you just swing through for game. He's just insane. I mean, I understand if you don't want to run him because if there's like a stigma around the card where the card is just that good. But in my opinion, if you're trying to build the best possible mono water monsters deck that you can, 3 of this guy is absolute must. I put 3 Steiner in my build just because I feel like he's gonna want to. If he wants to run Ozma, Steiner is a good way to be able to tutor out Ozma. Since the backup Ico can't grab him, Steiner can grab any 9 character. So you can grab that extra Ozma for your special. You can get the first Ozma to be able to play him. You can do a lot of cool things with that. I do think you could bring this number down to 2 if you wanted to go that route. And again, I think if you really, really wanted to run Ozma, I think the best Ozma deck is to run like kind of like the big water with just Ozma in it. But again, I think Ozma. The big thing with Ozma is he's expensive, and you need his S to be a blowout. So you're not really seeing him in a lot of the topping mono water monster decks because he just there's more value in the lower cost stuff, and you could run like Marlboros and all that things, and then Cognazzo still just kills everything. You don't need that Ozma play to wipe their board. But again, we're going with the theme that Ozma is the key here, so I got the Steiner in there. I have 3 Lenas, just because you can get back realms, you can get back mirrors with this, and then again that special can be a blowout if you can get back like a Gao to another monster, get back a Cloud of Darkness, kill something, get back a Cognazzo, bounce it back to your hand, play another Cognazzo. There's a lot of things you can do. Again, there's not a whole lot of great. I mean, there's good Lena targets here. But she's definitely better in some other decks. You could probably cut this to 2 and probably be fine. And again, you can maybe cut her out in general, but I do like being able to recur things. And she usually is pretty valuable. Like, she'll get her value as soon as she comes into play. 3 Realms, obviously, basically card draw when you're running this many monsters. You play her, you get a monster off the top. You put it in your hand, you get to play it later. Can't be bad. Also, it lets you activate your monsters, just like kind of like you were doing with Kefka in your other build. However, it's just 1 monster instead of all your monsters. But she's pitchable for mana. You can play her over and over again because she only costs 2. She's just too good right now in these monster builds. She's one of the best cards in these monster builds right now. She just does a lot for them. Great card. So next is the new legendary Porum. Put 3 in there. Again, you could maybe go down to 2. I do like in the other mono water monsters without kind of like the Ozma stuff in it, running the 1-drop Porum to be able to grab the 3-drop and also apply some early pressure since she's also a very annoying card. And then you could maybe put some Lenoras in there as well. Just some few ideas. But again, this card is like card draw. You play her, you look at your top 3, you don't even have to reveal it. You grab one, you put it in your hand. And it's really good. She's undersized. She also has an ability that lets her just shut down things. So, great card again. I have 2 Gao in here. You could run 3. Like again, you could maybe cut a Lena, put a Gao, cut a Steiner, put a Gao. I think those are all perfectly viable. Gao's great. Recycles a monster when he comes in. Can get potentially really big in this deck. And maybe sometimes you get a special, just kill something. So again, he's a really good card. I could see myself cutting the Steiner, putting up to 3 Gao, and I think in other builds he would run 3, but he's at least a 2 of. And then again, I have 2 Mira here. She's just really good when with Tonberries mostly. Like you're able to KO, tap her, get another Tonberry, play another Tonberry, and kind of just cycle through that. And also, if one of your other monsters happens to die, you can still tap her and go get another copy of it, play it again. So she can do a lot. I think 3 is a bit too much for her in general, especially since you have Tom Betty to be able to search. But again, good card. And then I also have 2 of the legendary Cloud of Darkness here. Again, my biggest issue with this deck, I think, is you need a way to be able to get rid of Emperor. And really, in this deck, your only ways to get rid of Emperor are Cloud of Darkness and Cognazo, or force him to block when he just doesn't want to. Otherwise, it's going to really suck for you. That's why I tend to lean toward the Water Earth package, kind of, so you have options to deal with Emperor. Like you have Raubon, you have Shantoto if you have to get rid of him. You have just a lot of ways to deal with him without casting summons, because when you're running Cleon again, you're not really using summons. So, I think that's just a problem that the deck needs to be able to deal with. And in this particular build, your ways to deal with him are Cognazo and Cloud of Darkness. Just power reduction, get him off the board, and then go about your business. So that's my forwards. Again, you could go a little different, and it wouldn't be bad. And I think maybe 3 Gals might be good as well. So my backups, I have 3 Scholar, obviously, just for the Cognazo combo, basically, and it's a good turn 1 backup, and it breaks itself. It's just really good for what it does. It can also save a forward in a pinch if you have to. Can save a monster that just became a forward if they try to do something to it. 3 Waka, obviously, buffs everything in the deck, so not much else to say there. 2 Minwu, again, I think Minwu is kind of on the decline a little bit right now. Not a lot of people are running into him much because there's not a lot of stuff that he really saves you from, but I like him as a 2 of, because in some matchups he's just a blowout. If you run into something that just trying to ping you down, like a Wind Lightning deck or something like that, he could really make the difference. A lot of times I think you might be pitching him for mana. 2 Artemisian, I'm a big fan of this card. I think it's really good to be able to cycle through your deck, look at other cards, and maybe fix your hand, make your hand look better. 2 Ico, mainly just to get the Steiner. Turn 2 backup, you maybe get the Steiner. Turn 3 backup, you play this, you get the Steiner. You play the Steiner the next turn, you get your Ozma, so on and so forth. Then you got Tonberry, EX Burst. It searches Tonberry. It searches 2 cards in your deck, so Tonberries and Mira. So it's really good in that regard. And then I have 2 Green Mage, another really good turn 1 backup that you can just play, and then later on can shut down an ability. So again, this backup line I feel like is more streamlined toward what you want to be doing. This isn't like the end all be all. There's definitely some other backups that you can look into, but these are the ones that I tend to like. And then my monsters, I have 3 Green Dragon, 3 Cleon, 3 Ozma, 2 Tonberry, and 2 Schrodinger. I think these are really the monsters that you want to look into doing. Again, if this was my personal build, I would probably cut Ozma out and go more toward, maybe run a few Marlboros and then get a few more 4s in there. And then just kind of build toward the Cognazo play. And also, like I said, I tend to favor the Earth build, which would also have like the Raubons and such in there. So, that's my build. Let me know in the comments if you like it, love it, hate it, don't agree with it, think it's terrible, any of that stuff. And, thanks for watching as always. Again, make sure you go back, watch our previous podcast, enter our contest, look for the details on that. So you have to be a subscriber to our channel, and you need to listen to that podcast to listen for the details on what you have to do to enter to win a foil signed Sabin by the creator of the game, Kageyama. So, again, thanks for listening. Please subscribe and like this video if you get a second. It really helps us. And look forward to the next Blitz tech, which should be Lightning or Wind. I'm not really sure yet. It just depends on availability of people. So thanks for listening. See you guys later. Bye.